welcome to a new vlog and trip report. Today we're taking a look at another narrow gauge heritage railway. We're taking a look at the Öchsle and we are going from Warthausen to Ochsenhausen, and back here on the map you can see our route today. We're taking a close look at the route in the animation. We're starting at the Warthausen and then we're going via Herleshöfen, Barabein, Epfingen, Sulmingen, Maselheim, Wennedach and Rheinstetten to Ochsenhausen, and then back on the same way. The railway line is around 19 kilometers long and is located in Upper Swabia in Baden-Württemberg. It is a narrow gauge railway line with a gauge of 750 millimeters, and we're traveling on a very special day as our train has two locomotives today, a steam locomotive and a diesel locomotive. As you can see, it is a very long train, as there was a pretty high demand for this very special occasion. Our diesel locomotive is a visitor from the Rügensche Bäderbahn from the island of Rügen. It was just here for 2 days and today was the only day where it was operating together with the steam locomotive. Of course, I will tell you later on a bit more about the locomotives today. Here we can see one of the carriages, of course with wooden seats again. Here we can see one of the modern trains going to Ulm and Stuttgart, and after that we are slowly leaving the station of Warthausen, of course much slower and more relaxed, and we're going parallel to the Südbahn Southern Railway before leaving this railway line close to Herleshöfen. The railway line was opened in 1899, and in the beginning it was planned to build several more narrow gauge railway lines connecting, with this railway line forming a network of narrow gauge railway lines. For example, it was planned to continue this railway line on to Memmingen and to also connect it with a railway line to Wurzach and Rossberg, as well as Schwendi and Laupheim, but none of those railway lines were built, so the railway line we are traveling on today is the only one that has been built, and except for the around 3 kilometers long part between Biberach and Warthausen, the whole length of the line is still in use. As you can see, there are a lot of people inside and around the train taking pictures and traveling on the train, so I had to blur a lot of faces. As you know, I'm always making sure to not show people on the internet without asking them first, so I just blur the faces. So apologies for all the blurred faces, but I hope you still enjoyed the video. So of course there are a lot of people today here on this train, as it is a very special occasion. The steam locomotive is a regular locomotive used here on this railway line, but the diesel locomotive came all the way from the other end of Germany, from the island of Rügen. It's the class V51901, one of only 3 locomotives of this type ever built. One of the other ones belongs to the railway company operating the Öchsle, but it's not operational at the moment, so it is a very special occasion to see this locomotive here on this railway line. Our other locomotive is the class 99633, was built in the year 1899 and was operational on this railway line until 1940 and was still used as a support until 1968. From 1985 to 1919 she was back on the railway line, and she finally came back to the railway line in 2002, and since 2015 she is operational again. The railway line, called Öchsle, has a very interesting history, as already in 1954 there were less and less passenger trains, and in 1964 passenger services were suspended. But there were still freight trains until 1983, and then the whole railway line was closed. But luckily an association was founded, the Öchsle Schmalspurbahn Association, and they saved this railway line, and from 1985 to 1991 there were heritage trains on this line, but in 1991 they closed down as well, as they were not allowed to operate due to problems with the track. Then there was a new company that restarted the heritage trains in 1996, but at the end of 2000 they also had to cease operations due to problems with the track, and then there was a third try that finally worked out, and since 2002 there are the heritage trains that we are seeing here in this video. The railway line itself is also quite beautiful. We're gaining an altitude of around 70 meters until we reach the highest point of the railway line, and then we are going down another 20 meters to Ochsenhausen. And I will now let you enjoy the beautiful train ride. In the meantime, we've reached Ochsenhausen, the end of the line, and to reach the station of Ochsenhausen we have to cross a roundabout, which is also pretty unique. As you can see here, we're going directly through the roundabout with the train, so that's also quite interesting to see. And now we're approaching the station of Ochsenhausen. There was a big program, not only that there is a museum, but there was also a shop, and they even set up a grill so the visitors could enjoy a little snack before taking either this train back or around 4 hours later the second train of the day. We decided to take the same train back, as later on I want to see some more rail lines in the area. Here we can see one of the carriages, and now we can take a look at our locomotives. As we were in one of the last carriages on our way to Ochsenhausen, we're now in one of the carriages closest to the engine, so now we can also enjoy the sound of the train in the video a bit more. Here we are crossing the roundabout again, and now of course we're going on the same way back to Warthausen. Of course, there are not only train enthusiasts that like to travel on trains, but there are also a lot of train photographers. It was quite interesting to see them because they were racing the train, stopping at all possibilities, taking pictures of the train, running back to the cars, driving to the next photo spot and taking pictures again, so we saw them on the whole length of the journey. So also this was quite interesting and fun to see. And now it's time to listen to the wonderful sound of our steam and diesel locomotives on our way to Warthausen. At Maselheim there is a longer stop, so there's also the chance to leave the train, take some nice pictures of your locomotives and the train itself. Of course, we can take some nice pictures of the train and the locomotives. Here we can see the unique combination of a steam locomotive and a diesel locomotive, and then we're continuing on to Warthausen. It is quite easy to reach this railway line. Of course, you can take a train. There is a regular railway station right next to the station of the Öchsle, and of course there are also a lot of parking lots, so you can also go there by car. It is a very nice experience to travel with this heritage train. It is a very beautiful landscape, so I can highly recommend traveling with the Öchsle. Of course, not only on days like this with special visitors like the V51 locomotive, but also on a regular day it is a very nice experience to travel with this train. And I really love that there are associations that keep this heritage alive, especially for people like me that didn't experience steam locomotives in a regular service. In the meantime, we're getting slowly closer to Warthausen, and now we can listen to the beautiful sound of our locomotives once again. Here we are leaving the station of Barabein. Well, actually we didn't stop there, as all the stations in between are only request stops, so if you want to leave the train at one of those stations you need to report to a conductor, otherwise the train is going through those stations without stopping. As I would say more than 99% of the passengers are joining the train for the full length of the line, as they are not traveling there to get to one of the cities but to experience the train ride. Here we are back at the Southern Railway. Unfortunately, we didn't meet an oncoming train. It would have also been very interesting. But here we can see the station of Warthausen, the modern station of Warthausen, where you have a connection then to the Regio S-Bahn that will bring you to Biberach or Ulm. So as I said, it's also quite easy to reach this train with public transport, but there are also a lot of parking lots right next to the station. Here we are approaching the station, and that already marks the end of this video. In the next video we will take a look at the Southern Railway, but we're not starting here in Warthausen, we're starting the end of the line in Biberach, and then we're going all the way to Ulm via Laupheim. But here a fantastic train journey is now coming to an end. I hope you enjoyed this video and this unique train ride. Here you can see when the next video will be uploaded and the name of the song. As always, I'd like to say thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to comment, like, subscribe or share the video link, and I hope to see you in my next video then.